Hello there, good afternoon, welcome back to Celtic World Order podcast. As always, I'm Steve O'Matt, and it's a warm welcome to you back here on the channel for a wee quick update out the blue. That's the way it goes. We all know it's transfer deadline day, and or as we like to call it, transfer dreadline day, or transfer disappointment day. Those seem a lot more apt when you're a Celtic supporter, and any sense of goodwill or faith in the board is incredibly fast in eradicating in terms of today, because it's the same old, as it says there, new season, same shambles as everything. Celtic's best laid plans for these transfers, the much needed transfers, seem to be disappearing, vanishing right before our eyes. Surprise, surprise, surprise. We're just taken for fools, aren't we? We are taken for fools. The custodians, the men in charge, the people at the top, whatever way you want to put it, deserve and need to be held to account, because yes, the transfer window in Scotland slammed shut, as they like to say, at 11 o'clock tonight, but there's around about 48 minutes left in the English League's transfer window. And guess what? What does that mean for the likes of the Adam Eder transfer, and indeed the potential transfer of Yang? Because if Celtic are scrambling about, looking down the back of the couch, getting out the wee dusty old black book or the Brendan Rodgers Rolodex, then it looks completely and utterly desperate. We're going to talk about it real quick. We will be back tonight, by the way, probably about 10:30 thereabouts, for the excitement of the last bit of the window, and then we will give you our assessment of what we think has came out of this window. But just a quick wee update of what's going on at this moment in time. The shambles, as I said, that's just falling apart at the seams, that is Celtic. Before we get in it, as always, thanks for the support to the channel. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. Caution on, all our content is free. Hit the bell. That means every time we go live, every time we do one of these uploads, you will get notified. You won't miss any content. Get us on our X, CWPod 1888. There'll be lots of updates going through there through the course of this shambolic window so far. Get us on TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, Blue Sky. You know it by now. Make it happen. Get involved. So let's just dump. Exactly, dump. That shows you what Celtic do, isn't it? But yeah, let's just dive into the deep end. What's the headline? Well, it is, of course, Mr. Dolberg, of course, Casper Dolberg, the guy that had burst out. We came on, we done the show. Everybody started to get really excited about it. He appeared as a sub for Anderlecht the other night there, and it looked as if he had said his goodbyes. Celtic, that whether it's rumour, whether it's true, or whether it's just absolute garbage, the words that were swirling about late last night and early this morning was that Celtic had pushed for a bid in around about the £8 million mark, £8 to £8.5 million mark, and that his club had agreed with it. They were all well happy with it. And then again, that sounds silly, unlikely, but at the same time very Celtic, that when the paperwork was apparently slid, that the fee was £7.8 million. Whether that's just absolute nonsense or not, it remains to be seen. But the reality of the situation is, would you put it by Celtic? Because, by the way, I definitely would not. For what it's worth, I don't even know why I'm doing this. I don't know why we're torturing ourselves, but there we are. Casper Dolberg, there's exactly what we thought we were getting. Plenty of experience, 27, about to turn 28, 55 Denmark caps, 12 goals for them. Plenty of experience. France, plenty of experience. Spain, Anderlecht, European experience. Tick, 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 tick. 347 appearances, 123 goals, 32 assists. It looked like the perfect replacement, and we thought it was going to happen. Why? Because we had let Ida once again go back down to Swansea. We had the embarrassment of Friday night. He goes down there. We're told that everything's agreed. It's all signed off. Led to believe that he had done his wee pictures, his welcome video, and then it was up the road, big man, as Brendan Rodgers, rightfully I must say, said he can't go anywhere unless we've got something of a suitable replacement in. So he was a week back up. He didn't even get near the squad. He wasn't even at the squad hotel for the game against Rangers. He was back down in Swansea for part 2 of the merry-go-round. He's trying to get this over the line. And it appears now that that is all completely in jeopardy. Why? Because in typical Celtic fashion, dithering, not being assertive, not putting together a package from the off. If you really want someone that they can't say no to, that the club can't say no to, and getting the likes of Dolberg over the line, guess what? Arguably a more attractive side comes in, and that's Ajax, a team who's previously played for, by the way, and they sweep in, and he's saying that he wants a bit of that action. He'd rather go back to the Eredivisie. He'd rather do his chances at Ajax. See, it's probably a more competitive league at higher standards, still European football. But there is a twist in the tail, and it just shows you how poor things are at Celtic, because Ajax, the word is, can't pay the fee outright. Celtic were willing to pay the fee, whatever it took, the 8, 9, maybe even up to 10 million to get him in the door right now. His club would prefer that. They want the money up front. Of course they do. But Ajax are now unable to put the money up, at least it says at the moment, up front to get him secured. But negotiating a deal where they will bring him in on loan with an obligation to buy. So they will still get their money. They'll just offset the cost, and it looks as if they're happy with that. So, as I says, the top target, the one that we were all pinning our hopes on, the guy that ticked all the boxes, the person that we thought was going to be the bona fide European quality striker with the experience to boot that we need, probably isn't going to happen now. Well done, world-class basics. And I'll say this right now, this window, at the end of this window, yes, there's still time, and a rabbit could get pulled out the hat. It seems incredibly unlikely, but every single person on that board needs to be held to account. And I would say I've seen the protesting people are saying, if you want to call it that, online, direct, non-aggressive action needs to be taken. Celtic fans, after this, enough is enough. These charlatans that run our club are absolutely drilling us into the deck. We are a laughing stock. Ida, as I says, the clock's ticking. By my clock there, it's 17 minutes past 4. And a deal needs to be done by 5 o'clock. Is that going to happen? Who knows? It would be complete and utter negligence to let him go if there wasn't something bona fide, signed, sealed, and delivered, or guaranteed an assurance that someone's coming in. Because as much as he does up and down and not, doesn't look like the answer, you let him go, your options are worse again. Kenny is not the standard, and I will not have people thrown at me. This is my opinion. I'm not here to say that I'm right and you're wrong, but I'll never shift on that one. You can say and throw as much stuff at you as you want. In my opinion, Kenny is not Celtic quality. He's a third to fourth choice striker at best. Shin Yamada could turn out to be good, but at this moment in time, do I want to roll the dice and gamble on that one? No, absolutely not. Celtic need 2 top quality strikers in. Dolberg +1 was what we needed. What's the alternative options now? It's David Strejek. He's away to Birmingham. No, sorry, Middlesbrough. What other scrambling have they got in? And again, as I says, another one I want to talk about, Yang, he was allowed to get down to Birmingham. He's down there waiting to see if that'll get passed, if that'll get allowed for him to make that move. It's now 19 minutes past 4, by the way. And Celtic still don't look like they're any further to fill in the gaps of midfielder out in the wing to take his place. And again, do I think Yang's the answer? No, I don't. But do you trust this club at this moment in time? Do you trust the people in charge to allow Yang to go, to allow Ida to go and get those 2 positions filled and then another 2 or 3 guys on top? No, I don't. And I'm sure you don't either. It's an absolute shambles. So let's look at it. Who have we pivoted to? Underwhelming FC. So the word on the street is that Celtic are pivoting to another striker on loan, just on loan. And guess what? Spoiler alert, just my opinion. Absolute garbage. Sekou Mara. Let's have a wee look. Let's look and see what's happening with Sekou Mara. Now, this would be on loan. As you can see, he's a young striker there, currently at Strasbourg, 23, under 21 caps for France, 4 games, 1 goal. Let's have a wee look at Sekumara, right? Let's have a look. As you can see, Southampton out there on loan from there. The stats are worrying. 143, 27 goals, 10 assists. But more importantly, look at that there. Look at that there. 24 to 25 season. Holy moly. Holy moly. 3 goals and 1 assist. World-class basics, top quality. That's exactly what I want. That's exactly, I mean, see, as much as I've criticised Ida, by God, at least he's got 20 goals to his name. That's embarrassing. That's what Celtic, we're supposed to roll over and get excited about that plankton coming in. We are getting sold a dafty, people. We are getting absolutely taken for a ride. And that is, quite frankly, a redneck that is the standard that Celtic are pivoting to. Yeah, exactly. As McLaughlin's saying, another Miku, file under Miku, file under Rasmussen, file under Brojek, file under Mo Bangura, file under Amido Baldi. Absolute garbage. Who's scouting that? Is this a player that has been offered to Celtic? Because I can't get into my head that guy would be anywhere on our radar and think, oh, let's geese a wee bit of that, by the way. I'm done. I am sick to my back teeth of this garbage. And then there's another one. We spoke about the Yang situation. We spoke about the desperation for wingers. We come back again to Taneki. In case you don't know, let's get his stats up again. Harambe. We were arguing. We were bickering. We were gunning with the low bids once again, but it seems that the club had dug their heels and says the guy's no for sale, he's no for sale, and if it is, it's going to have to be around about 5 million. Well, again, there appears to be a wee bit of sort of advancements made on that, and they are saying that yes, Celtic have come in with a firm bid around about 5.2 to 5.5 million pound for this guy. However, here's the kicker. The club are like, nah, he's no for sale. And you know what that means? Celtic will probably get so desperate they will offer him £6.5 million, and they'll be like, nobody's sold. Because again, I don't know about this guy. I'm not going to sit here and profess to know about him and say that he's amazing or that he's otherwise, but just on paper, in my opinion, not the standard required. 137 games, 16 goals and 11 assists for a winger. Come on, give me peace. This is just pathetic. We went through looking apparently at guys like Calvin Stengs with bona fide quality at top level, international cats of Holland, to this clown. No disrespect to him, he might be a brilliant guy, but I'm just talking footballing. This looks like an absolute clown shoe a target. 23, they always kick it. Tunisian international. Yes, Tunisian international. 2 caps for Tunisia since 2021. And as I said in a previous video, Tunisia aren't exactly laden with top quality players, are they? So if you can't get into a Tunisia team, mate, and you're that good, come on, like, really? Now, again, I'm just going on numbers, and I always say on this show, numbers only tell you part of the story. The old eyeball test goes there. But, I mean, really, how good is he if that's his overall numbers and output for a creative position as a winger? 16 goals and 11 assists. Come on, seriously? He can't be that good. He clearly can't even be a winger then, if he's putting in any kind of numbers. And I understand that maybe at Harnby or whatever, you could be playing a garbage team, but surely you're going to have better numbers than that. That's just what I can't get my head around. But then, in terms of looking at it, another person who could be coming in, and this is interesting. Why? Because Rangers are also interested, as are Leicester City, and that's Juzaran Raksaki. So let's get him up. Let's have a wee look at what he is. Admittedly, again, I don't know much about the lad. However, if I looked at Taneki, or I even look at what we've just brought up there with Sekou Mara, I feel a wee bit more confident about this guy as being as a loan. But again, there where it's a loan, it's a stopgap. He's at Crystal Palace. It would be going out on loan. Let's have a wee gander. Let's have a wee look at what we're talking about with Juzaran Raksaki. Here we are. Brought him up, as it says, you know, right winger, exactly what we need, because with very short options out there, of course. 22, yeah, down at Sheffield United, I believe, on loan. There you can see 24, 25, 34 games, 7 goals, 2 assists. That's not bad in the Championship, by the way. at a very bang average team, and his overall balance is a lot more promising. 154 appearances, 55 goals, 27 assists. Yes, I see there's a lot of Premier League 2 and things like that, but he has been out in loan. He does have some game time in the Premier League, 6 appearances there, some in the EFL Cup, the Championship. That's a good competitive level, so I feel a lot more confident about that. But what I don't feel confident about is getting this one over the line. You know, there's obviously the big elephant in the room when it comes to that, lad, isn't it? And that is the fact that there is the Southampton link there. Now, oh, sorry, not Southampton, the English Championship link there. And I'm pretty sure that for as much as he's dying on his backside, Russell Martin probably will have some levels of irons in the fire with contacts in the Championship and around about it. And that can go in your favour. They'll probably be looking at it. Any player looking at Rangers, yep, of course, they'll look at it and say, basket case, they're doing terribly, they're wanting the manager out. However, the manager at this moment in time is just in the door, so he might get time, and the owners at least seem ambitious, and they can always sell that. Whereas Celtic, on the other hand, undercutting teams, getting laughed at by other CEOs and directors of football. Look and see the Go Ahead Eagles, for example, constantly undercutting people, fan unrest, the manager who clearly looks like he's leaving at the end of the season. That's a harder sell. As daft as that sounds, because it shouldn't be a hard sell. Whether we want it or not, Europa League football, 8 games, some all right looking games in there, coming to the dominant force in Scotland, chances to win domestic trophies. It should sell itself to these players, but at this moment in time, I genuinely don't even believe that that's going to be the case. I think Celtic become an incredibly hard sell. Now, here's the other interesting thing, and the thing that really should be getting on everybody's nerves here. On top of bringing in Sarachi, bringing in Balikwisha, Celtic at this moment in time spent about £8 million in the transfer market, right? They're still plus £15.75 million up at this moment in time. If you then add in potentially 7 million coming in the door for Ida, potentially 3 million coming in the door for Yang, and in and around about £6 million should O make his move to Germany, plus £32.75 million or there around. About £31, £32 million profit, and we've spent £8 million. Celtic at this moment in time should be getting out right now and doing everything in their power and blowing all £16.75 million available right now, rather than waiting on that. It's ridiculous. They could be spending more. They should be spending more. And I understand, remember the self-serving prophecies of, we save money because if you don't make the Champions League, that's fine. Well, guess what? They could stick 32 if they bring those players in, 32, 31, 32 million pound. They're not going to spend all that. You and I both know that. Everybody knows that. But they could at least go and spend at least 20, couldn't they? Minimum. And try to get some qualities in. This side, this board is an absolute joke. An absolute joke. It's just another disappointing deadline day. Transfer disappointment day. That's what they should rename it when it comes to Celtic. And then again, I will flip it and I'll look and talk about Rangers. And I know you don't want to talk about Rangers, but the principle still remains. They have went out and overspent well beyond their means. They're throwing so much stuff at the board and hoping it sticks, and there's no guarantee with that. But there you go. They've got a guy up from Everton who they're going to pay £8 million for. When did you ever think you would hear Rangers spending £8 million on anybody? Now, where you believe that's the case or where that's all up front is irrelevant. I will say one thing. I think the guy's garbage. We talk about getting our pants pulled down before for guys that lead and stuff. I think the guy that they're looking to buy for £8 million for Everton's absolutely garbage. And I actually think that's a wee bit of sort of nepotism in there, because the guy that's in charge of their football department used to be down there. And he's probably looked at that being an absolute shambles when they signed the guy for 16, 17 million. And he's trying to help his pals out by getting some money back in the coffers for them. Their fan base are up in arms about it. But my point remains, they're spending money. They're in for the same guy that Celtic are on loan. And as I says, If I was a gambling man, I think they would win that race, unfortunately. They're also looking to bring in another guy from France as a midfielder. They are active, constantly active. What are Celtic doing? It looks as if we had one target. In fact, maybe two, Tanecki, Dolberg. Both of them at this moment in time at 4:30 look completely dead, buried, dead in the water. It's embarrassing. It is embarrassing. And at the end of this, regardless of what happens, this board, somebody has got to be held to account. And I know it's their pals, but whoever's in charge, there needs to be a sacrificial lamb from the board. There needs to be a ceremonial sacking so that they can at least chuck the blame onto somebody. I mean, it's every single one of them. But you start with Michael Nicholson, the anonymous CEO, the man with no voice. World-class basics, mate. His decision-making, or at least part of his decision-making as CEO, cost Celtic at least a minimum 30 to 40 million pound instant money for Champions League. This will now be the fifth time in recent times that Celtic, having to qualify, have missed out in the Champions League. As I said a million times over, in any other walk of life, in any other business, if you're the CEO and your decision-making process costs your company, or in this case, your football club, 40 million, 30 million, you would be sacked. And there can be no exceptions here. A man not fit for purpose, a man unqualified for the job, a lawyer who's been launched into the big job with no footballing experience around transfers or anything else. The only experience he's got is what his wee pals are. Is what his wee pals are telling him. We'll keep you right, big man. We'll keep you right. There's Pedro. He'll help you out. He's got the experience. Nothing's changing. And I hate to come on here and be so negative, but the frustrations are growing. My phone's going off the hook for people messaging me about how embarrassed they are about this. Twitter is alive. Fan forums are bursting at the seams. It's absolutely a redneck. And as it's just said there, Celtic Boy saying, yeah, I say world-class basics is embarrassing. That's in our dressing room. World-class basics. Remember, we quoted off what was said for 67 Hail Hail, I believe that was that 2020 interview with Dermot Desmond. In 2025, I think we'll have a side that will be better than the historically great sides of Gordon Strachan, Martin O'Neill, Brendan Rodgers' first tenure, Neil Lennon. A million miles off. That was also a guy by in 2020 thought the team that we had then would have bet the 2003 Seville winning side. Or winning side. Final side, there you go. More disappointment, but different times there. But anyway, listen, guys, just wanted to come on, get a wee bit of venting out because I'm sure you've all got it there. We'll be back right at the tail end of this. I am not going to hold my breath. I think we're unfortunately in for an absolute other shambles. Other one that's just came up, by the way, is Welsh. Welsh potentially get out on loan to Motherwell. Another one that we could have got money for. Preston North End wanted him. Preston North End wanted him, not to give us cold hard cash for him. It's maybe good that he's out on loan because what was the point of selling him anyway? Because we'll spend that. But yeah, Welsh going out on loan when we could have had money for him, but we dithered about. We were indecisive. Cost us. There you go. Just a sad state of affairs at Celtic are in. But anyway, listen, hopefully they're the word, isn't it? Hopefully things improve and we get something tangible that it looks like quality. I think at this moment in time, Paddy asked me all night what I thought, and I said I thought we'd get 3. I said I thought we'd get 2 permanent and 1 loan. I think right now you're probably going to get 3 loans or something. And we're at the stage now where what you're going to be getting is players who are offered to you. You're going to get offered players, guys that agents have been told he's not around. Game's over for him at this club. Find him somewhere. And you will be literally given that amount of time to make a decision. You'll literally be doing what I'm doing right now. They'll be on transfer market, looking at the guy's stats. Oh, maybe go do YouTube CSC. Oh, it looks brilliant. Get him bought. Get him in on loan. That's what will happen. Now, there's always the twist in the tail, isn't there? It was funny how we went for like talking about big money loans for guys like Raheem Sterling. See, right now, I would bite your arm off for Raheem Sterling on loan. I think that's going to happen. No, I don't. Yes, EPL rejects, Championship rejects, absolute plankton like Sekumara, that a striker. Wow. Never thought I'd be saying it, but as much as I've criticised Kenny, Shin Yamada, and Ida, I'd have all of them over that. That sounds absolutely garbage. This is the level of ambition we've got. Absolute garbage. It's going to be another Luca Connell style situation, isn't it? Remember all that? Your Tyler Blacketts and that. That's the kind of nonsense that's going to be coming out of Celtic, I would imagine, as we scramble about, clutching at straws in the dark. Help! Where can we get players? What a sad state of affairs that we're in. One thing I think will be a 100% guaranteed by the end of this transfer window: balance sheet FC. Plenty of money in the bank. Far more. Because you need to make allowances for the times you don't get into the Champions League. And I hope to Christ, I hope to God that there's nobody getting sold out with potentially Ida and Yang. Assuming they come in, I can't even envisage a last minute crazy bid for somebody like Hatate or Maeda. As up and down as they've been, can't afford to lose anybody else, can you? Well, anyway, listen, take care of yourself. I would say keep the faith, but that would be slightly patronising, wouldn't it? Because it's hard to keep the faith with this board. 4:37 p.m. English window shuts at 5 o'clock. What's going to happen with Ida? What's going to happen with Yang? Let's wait and see, eh? And what's going to happen by 11 o'clock tonight? Strap yourselves in, people. Anyway, take care of yourselves. Until next time, as always, hail, hail. We're still on.